Namaste. One of the major issues as a human being is our perspective. How do we as a human being, as an individual, perceive the universe, the world in which we live? Patanjali, that master psychologist, has given us the amazing concept of the kleshas, the 5 kleshas, pancha kleshas, that prevent us from actually perceiving the universe as it is. As is commonly said these days, we do not perceive the world as it is, but as we are. And 2500 years ago, Patanjali, that great master, that Pravaram Muninam Patanjalim, he has given us the concept of the kleshas. Today, I wish to explore this a bit. The kleshas are 5, and these are often translated as inborn psychological afflictions that all of us who are born have as part of our system. It is like a corrupted malware in our own software of our computer. And most people are not aware of it, so they cannot do anything about it. But yoga is the science of bringing awareness to those aspects of us that we are unaware of. So we have to become aware of these inborn psychological afflictions. Another way they are described is in the term coloring, because they color our perspective. If you look at the world with a green glass, it looks green; with blue, it looks blue; with red, it looks red. Similarly, the kleshas that are within us color our perspective of the world around us. The third way is distorters of perception. They distort our ability to perceive. The reality is distorted through the kleshas, and we end up perceiving something that is not the real at all. Patanjali tells us that of these 5, the first and foremost is avidya, often translated as ignorance. Now, Patanjali's definition of avidya is very interesting. He says, it is the mistaking of the anitya, asuchi, dukkha, anatmasu to be nitya, suchi, sukha and atmakyati. What he means here is anitya, that which is impermanent, is perceived to be permanent. That which is impure is perceived to be pure. That which is painful, suffering, is perceived to be pleasure, and that which is not the self, anatma, is perceived to be the self. I think this is one of the greatest definitions of ignorance. We mistake the anitya, asuchi, dukkha, anatmasu to be nitya, suchi, sukha, atmakyati. Now this avidya is the base. It is the kshetra. It is the field in which the other 4, asmita, raga, dvesha and abhinivesha, can manifest in different levels. And Patanjali tells us, avidya kshetram, when avidya is the field, these 4, they start to manifest as prasupta tanu vichinna udarana. Prasupta means when the kleshas are totally absent. You don't see them at all. They are hidden under the deep blue sea. Tanu is when they are attenuated and you can see them in a mild way. Once in a while they come up. In vichinna, they are really manifest. And at this form, you can really be aware of them. But then udaranam, as the term itself tells us, they are overpowering. And they become so powerful that we end up making huge lot of mistakes. And those mistakes often cost us a lot. So, avidya as the root, avidya as the field, asmita, the sense of I-ness, the sense of separatedness. I am different than the universe in which I exist. I am different than you. You are different than me. These human-made divisions are totally based on this sense of asmita that doesn't understand that all is one. And why doesn't it understand that all is one? Because of avidya. The moment you think I am me, You start to have likes and dislikes. Raga, that which pulls you towards it. Sukha anushayi ragaha, that which pulls you because you think it is pleasurable. And dvesha, dukkha anushayi dveshaha, you are pushed away, you run away from that which you think is suffering. Both of these likes and dislikes are based on our self-identity. I like this, I dislike it, and I click that button on YouTube or Facebook. And then the last but not least, this one, Abhinivesha, which is the survival instinct. In fact, Patanjali says, Vidusho api, even in the most learned, even in the people who should know better, they have the survival instinct, and to save their skin will do anything. Me first. I am the most important person to survive, even if earth gets destroyed. That is all Abhinivesha. So, ignorance of the reality, leading to a false sense of identification and separatedness, leading to the tendency to like or dislike something, and finally, I have to survive at any cost. These five kleshas, they influence the way we perceive the world around us. And because of that, we start to react to the world, to situations, to people, to events, instead of responding. Because when you have a clear perspective and when your perceptions are of the reality, you are going to be responding. But when your perceptions are distorted by the kleshas, you are caught at the subconscious, unconscious, reflexive behavior, and you lead a reactionary existence. Now Patanjali says that's not what human beings are to be. Human beings are to be something more. And that is why he gives us the concept of Kriya Yoga, which can be understood to be a vaccine before the kleshas manifest and an antidote once they manifest. And what is the Kriya Yoga of Patanjali? 3 steps. Tapa, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhana. What is Tapa? Tapa is self-effort. What is Swadhyaya? Introspectional self-analysis. And what is Ishvara Pranidhana? The ability to give over to the universe and to see the bigger picture. The moment you can make self-effort, the moment you can ask yourself the question, am I actually perceiving things properly? Am I thinking, saying and doing what is to be? And then to look at the bigger perspective, to grow into the perspective of Ishvara itself. The bigger your perspective, the less stressed you are. Because the kleshas are one of the greatest causes of stresses. We talk about stress as the causation of all disease. Adija Vyadi, psychosomatic disassociation leading to physical diseases. The kleshas do it. And unless one deals with the kleshas, one cannot actually regain the proper perspective, and without the proper perspective, health and happiness will continue to elude us like a mirage. That is one of the most important teachings of Patanjali. And personally, I often think even greater than the concept of Ashtanga Yoga is his Kriya Yoga. Because these kleshas are preventing us from being what we should be, a human being. And we are getting caught in subhuman tendencies because we are caught in this. The moment you perceive something in a false way, in a distorted way, how can your response be proper? How can it be appropriate? And that is why often I wonder about our whole nervous system, the spinal cord and the brain, because the whole Abhinivesha, survival instinct, is linked to that part that keeps us alive. The brain stem and your spinal cord. All it cares about is being alive. It doesn't care about the quality of life. And that is where Abhinivesha is. Whereas the limbic system is very much the Raga Dvesha part. The likes and dislikes that turn us into an emotional imbecile. We become a part of this emotional roller coaster, and then where will stability be there? And ultimately, both avidya and asmita are very much part of the cortical aspect, where we start to think that we are thinking. We think we are who we are. And this false sense of identity that comes into people, that is part of this cortical aspect of both avidya and asmita. Ultimately, it is through the Ajna Chakra, by the awareness of the prefrontal regions and that hypothalamo-pituitary axis at the physiological and anatomical plane. It is when we bring consciousness into this and we can overcome the avidya and the asmita. At that point, we start to be able to balance the raga dvesha and subdue these subhuman survival tendencies. It is at that point the mind attains clarity. That clarity that Patanjali talks about as Chitta Prasada. I think one of the most important aspects of yoga is to understand these kleshas. Understand how they prevent us from being who we are to be. Prevent us from manifesting our humanness. And unless we manifest our humanity, that humanness, how can we grow into our divine nature? I think Patanjali has given us beautiful concepts, beautiful tools, but now it is our dharma, it is our responsibility to do what we need to do. Live a life of yoga and overcome the kleshas so that we can become the best we that we are to be. May that manifest in all of us. Hari Om Tat Sat.